Uh, Hi everyone. I am Gigi, and I am based in Manchester, and when I say I'm called the Afro Curly Hair Coach. I was originally a hairdresser, which I still am, but now gone into coaching, teaching as well. So it's quite a new journey for me, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm actually learning new things. So one of the things that has been will I say, was very challenging for me was learning how to price. Because now I'm going into a new industry. There are new things. If anybody knows, according to the new legislation, we had hairdressers, all hairdressers had to learn how to work with Afro and curly hair. So, which was a
Mm.
good thing for me because that's what I've been doing. So it was just like I've been preparing for this time and I've gone right into it. But now the problem is I'm not pricing for clients that are just coming to do hair. I'm not pricing like, for a product. Now I'm pricing for this new service, which I've had to put together. It's something new. There's not really much like it out there. So it's really been like a journey of just learning a lot of things here. And one of the biggest things, like I said, is pricing because you're in, it is a business, and learning how to price yourself appropriately is so important. It was such a big deal because I was now exposed to, corporations, individuals, charities that wanted my expertise, but how do I charge? So like there's so many things out there. Do I just say, how do I know what I'm worth? How do
Yeah.
I know um what I'm worth to them? You understand? And then also, how do I know what is right? Because these are all the questions that come out.
Mm.
Should I do it £200? Should I do it £500? I don't want to make it too cheap. I don't want to make it too expensive. So it was really quite a challenge. And then some other things came out as well on this journey. So I think
Mm.
at the end we'll discuss that. But thank you so much, Association of Back Coaches, for having me here to have this discussion with you. I'm
You are
so happy.
welcome. Yeah, very
Yes.
welcome. Very welcome. And it's going to be
Thank
a really
you.
interesting talk. Really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing your journey.
Yeah, awesome. So I've prepared some slides here, and I just want to share them with you. Now, I'm not a pricing person, like I said, but I think it will be very nice to just share what I have learned. And if this is anybody's forte, feel free to let us know if there's anything that I've said that, is different. But this is my own journey. So I will start with, I will share my slides now. Let's see. I am now a pro at this.
Yeah, you are. One of your business skills now.
Yeah. And I use this for teaching all the time, but still, me and Zoom, I just don't know. I just don't know. But Zoom has been nice to me today.
Yes.
Everything is going clear nicely. So thank you, Zoom. So, strategies for effective pricing by Gege Uboma. So, moving on now. So, what are these strategies? What is effective pricing? Quickly, we'll talk about what's in here in this nice slide thing going on here. So we've got what is strategy, because before we go into anything, I'd like to just explain a little bit about
Mm.
what we're actually talking about. So what is effective pricing, strategies for this, for coaches, types of pricing for coaches, and discussion. We'll have a discussion at the end.
Mm.
I'm quite looking forward to that. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I just want to say, okay, a strategy is a plan of action that is designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim. So like I think I said in the beginning, we're all here for something. Do you understand? We're here to grow our business. We're here, it could be that we want to make a mark in the world. We want to help people one way or the other. Any of these things that we want to do, they're actionable, but we have to have a plan. And when it comes to pricing as well, you have to have a plan. We don't just want to jump into it. If not, either we'll overprice ourselves or underprice ourselves, and in the long run, our business will not be sustainable. So it's very important to have a strategy. Now, having a strategy is one, but then also having now an effective pricing strategy that accurately connects the value your price and your services provide with your target customers' willingness to pay. So that thing, willingness to pay, is something, you understand. There are two things here. We're talking about your value You understand? And then what is your client willing to pay? And I think these are the questions that keep coming out. And then there's also, I think, like a sort of battle, like what do I think I'm worth? And then what does the client want to pay? And then sometimes we're pushed to, will I say, go below what we think our value is because we're thinking there's something else that we can gain, or the other way around. So that is what I think those two keywords really stuck out to me. So so some strategies for effective pricing for coaching would be price scheming, premium pricing, and value-based pricing. So let's see this kind of strategies and what they really are about. I'm not going to go too deep, like I said, we can discuss it later, but just to have an idea of what pricing is, because it could just be, it's just pricing. No, it's a bit deeper than that. So I think everybody after this, or work with whoever your accounts people to get your pricing really, really nice and tight. So price scheming, this is linked to coaching, where it allows coaches to scheme learners who are interested and willing to listen to you or buy into your idea, and also show willingness to pay for your services. So how I understand this is something like when you get different customers in, or there'll have to be a kind of way that will I say your ideal customers come in, that means the people that are actually interested, will I say, okay, let me give an example how I want to explain it. Let's say you have Instagram, for example, different people coming through Instagram, you understand? You now have this followership, like there are people there, but not everybody is actually ready to buy from you, or actually pay what you want to pay. So I think want them to pay. So when I the way I look at price scheming is like, get the people from, let's say, Instagram into like a Facebook group sort of, and then that way you can now give them what you want, rather than just giving the same price to everybody outside. But when you can get some particular people into a particular place, then you'll be able to sell to them easily. I think hopefully that came out the way I wanted it to come out, and that makes sense. Okay, cool. So that's how I understand price scheming. So to generalize, it's something like, get the people you want together. If you bring up the right kind of information, you pull them to you, and that way you can actually sell to them, and sell them at a higher price, if that makes sense. So the other one, I think there's premium pricing. This one is just I think the way you brand yourself, the way you make yourself look, because yes, you give a good service, but how do we know that? So the way the way your brand is put together, your values of your company, how you make things look, when people come and buy from you, how are your systems? Are your systems really good? And in this particular situation, when you talk of premium pricing, it means you're going for the higher pricing point. So you need to, but you can't just go there and just be like, no, I'm going to charge this. You need to actually back it up with something substantial. You understand? So if your organization, as I said, everything needs to stand out, and that way you can now start thinking about pricing in this premium way. And there's something about pricing your services higher than competition. This is very interesting to me, just because most of the time I won't say I don't look at the competition, but I try to get my price for myself the way I want it first, and then I can have a look at what other people are doing, and that might affect it a little bit. Because what I found out is, if I go and look at other people's prices before, I tend to start making my decision based on the prices I've seen outside. But after my journey now, I understand that you need to know who you are really, what quality and what value your service is giving. And after that, it's not wrong to go and look at what people are doing. I think it's quite healthy. But then the problem is not allowing that to make you feel like, oh my God, because what used to happen to me, I'll go out and be like, oh my God, I've not done this. Oh my God, I've not done that. I can't price for this. I can't price for that. But after my studies, I actually had to go get a coach myself. Because I couldn't wrap my head around it. And she's actually one of us here on this platform, so that's beautiful.
That's
she's
good.
not here.
That's great.
Yeah. It's JJ was the one that
Yes, yeah,
I
she's an
wanted to
amazing
say
coach.
that,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So at the end of the day, but let me not go round and round. Yeah. And what I wanted to say here is do not look at the competition and then um will I say price yourself down or think that
yeah,
you're not worthy, because what you're giving, it has its own unique thing there. Yeah.
yeah,
So, value-based pricing is a strategy of setting prices based on customer perceived value of the product or service. You should know people who hire you, why they want to hire you. Obviously, if people want to hire you more, if you have positive results and feedback. But I think this is more for people who have been coaching for a longer time, who have something to fall back to see how, their results have been coming up, and then I think they can go back and look at that. But that's why you have to keep will I say records of what's going on, how clients feedback and all those feedback forms, and put them together and find out that, okay, are these people really happy, and then you can go on to be more confident in whatever pricing that you decide to go for. And they said, according to Forbes magazine, 70% of clients prefer coaches who price based on the results their clients receive. So for me, that's quite interesting, because how do how do the clients know? I won't say how did the I think they've done like a sort of research kind of thing and found out that it doesn't matter maybe what you offer, as far as clients know that they're going to get what they want, they're happy to pay. I think that's just what it's about. Yeah. So that's really interesting to know, and that's interesting for me, because for me, I always second guess myself and be like, oh, it, I heard things like, it's just hair, you understand, why are you pricing that way, or somebody else did it so and so way and all that. So why I'm talking about all these things, because these are things I had to look at before I could
yeah,
now stand up and say, you know what, this is my price and that's it. So my
yeah,
story is very interesting though, but after going through this, yeah. So for me, I looked at the that I would provide, expertise, sorry, that I would provide, and then on that I looked at I've been doing hair for 14 years, over 14 years. I didn't learn from anybody. Actually, I've been doing over 14 years, but I became a hairdresser 14 years ago. So you can imagine the amount of learning I had to do. I did like courses with European hair, but there were no courses for Afro hair. So it was a case of what I learned from my ancestors and from my parents, and then YouTube, internet, reading, so there was a lot of learning going on. And then at the end of the day, now it's 14 years on, and I've had to make a curriculum because I'm not a teacher. I've had to learn how to, put a course together. I'm still in the process of learning all these things, and then somebody has asked me to coach, and they're telling me, oh, is it not just that? And initially it was quite scary, because I was like, oh, just give them a price so that this thing can actually move. You understand? Like, accept whatever they are saying so that you would have the, will I say, the experience. Because it's not every time that you do something that you must be paid the highest. When you're starting off, you can, you know, it's not about your value now, because you're getting experience, you're adding to your value, so you might reduce your prices. But then when it continues over a long time, you can't sustain your business, because people expect that kind of reduced pricing all the time. And I don't think I won't say people, sorry, and some people or some organization expect that, and I don't think it's right. And I will talk about that concerning how we as coaches should need to support each other, especially when we're in the same niche, so that we're not underpricing each other. I think that's one of the most important things that we need to know. So for me, you look at the expertise that you provide. I believe value-based pricing is one of the best, because obviously you talk about your value. I mean, you know about your value, and then you can put that forward. I think that makes you feel most comfortable. That makes you feel more valued, and you feel rewarded, which is very important. So on the other thing, on value based, you can base your prices based on clients results. I think that's what we're talking about prior to this before. Yeah. So, and then also you have to think about pricing based on difficulty. How easy and how difficult is it going to be for you to make this happen? So is it going to take a whole day? How long is it going to take for you to prepare, stuff like that? Then now you have to think about your client's ability to pay. That's another thing that we have to think about. And then psychological pricing. So I did not. Okay, hold on. I think I've just run forward to this. So I need to expand on this then. But I think we've still got some good time. 1 minute. I've not looked at my notes since. I was just running off and just talking. So let me go back a bit, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, I think I talked a bit about the expertise that you provide, but I think I'm going to expand on this a bit because I was going to tell the story later, but I think it's important now. So I was talking about how long I've been doing Afro hair and how the journey I had to take. So I was approached by a couple of I've always been approached by a couple of corporations, and it's very interesting because who knew that there would be such a need, for this. But as they've approached me, I've been, approached by foster agencies, government agencies, and things like this. And for example, I was approached by a particular agency that wanted me to help. Their staff to understand more about their hair, to help their self-confidence so that they could come to work better. But the only thing was, when we now talked about it, I was going to be talking to, I think, 70,000 people. Yeah, so it was going to be via Zoom, and they were either going to have it pre-recorded or something, but there were 70,000 um, um, black and BAME, well, I say black, but not BAME, black and ethnic minority people in that whole thing. And so they wanted me to talk to them about caring. And you can imagine the kind of, there'll be like people with Afro hair, people of mixed ethnic backgrounds, people from Asia. You understand? There'll be all different hair types. So I have to think about accommodating these people. And I also had to think about what's the word? The adapting it to their niche, because it's not just about just hair now, it's about those particular people. So let's say I'm doing it for actors, I have to now make my plan to be for those people. So it's not nothing that I have already. What I have already is for maybe hairdressers or individuals. So now I have to do it for actors, or if they're drivers, I have to think about their lifestyle. So this is going to be a new thing. So I called about a couple of people, that I knew. Obviously, you do a lot of reading yourself, but then like, okay, let me hear from people that know what they're saying. And according to what I saw, value-based was the thing. So after everything that I looked at, had to calculate how long this would take me, how many days it would take me to prepare this, what staff I needed to make this happen. You understand what it would take me away from. You understand, like, because let's say there were other jobs I needed to do that would cost so and so amount. I needed to think about this. So by the time I finished and I gave them a prize, because imagine they're gonna keep this, gonna record it, and I gave them a prize, and I got back, I can't defend this prize to my superiors or something like that. And I'm like, okay, no problem, because this is new. So I'm like, okay, can you do anything for us? That's what I was told. And I'm thinking, okay, I want this to happen. Yes, I'm doing this for my business, but at the same time, I want to help people. And I want this thing to go forward, because the more people know about it and there's the information, that's what I'm doing here really, so let's see what I can do. So I practically cut it in half.
Wow.
Yeah, and then took away some things, but cut it in half, and it wasn't still good enough, because they couldn't justify it. And the thing about it though, because I had done all this work to find out what I was worth, because I now went back, I now did my proposals, put everything down, even the work I did to do these proposals and everything. I was like, already I need to charge for this because
Yeah,
I
it's time.
you know,
Yeah,
exactly. So, and most of us don't think about that because we
yeah.
have to put the amount of time that we used to do these proposals, everything together into this thing. And
Business
I
costs.
find
Yeah,
that some of us are trying to be cheap, not because they want to, but they're doing it because they want, maybe this will help. But what
yeah,
I understand that now I understand it doesn't really help it because you keep getting shortchanged over and over again, and then the
yeah,
market is feeling that this is how it is, and then it trickles down to everybody. So I'm not saying overprice people, but once you go through the right steps, you will now understand what you are worth.
yeah,
And then seriously, like what this has done for me is I now decided that, you know what, this is what I am worth. I'm gonna put it here.
yeah.
If you want it, fine. If you
Exactly.
don't want it, that's fine.
Mm.
Because I understand now that no matter what you do, you can't please everybody.
No.
And you can't. So I'm not trying to please people. Then for me as well, it's like I've been doing this for a long time, and the amount of work that's gone in. There's so many stories about corporations, like it's crazy. There's more to go into this. I'll tell you the next one. But what I, as I said, what I understood is that no matter how much you put or you put it down, somebody's gonna want it. My mom always used to say that if you go to the market, you've got like tomato stores, you could have like that's those people that play from places that they market in it, but most of us are. But if you
Yeah,
grew up here, you might not know. So you have like tomato. This lady's selling tomatoes. This lady's selling tomatoes, and you're like, all of you are selling tomatoes. But my mom was like, it doesn't matter. You take your stuff to the market. Somebody is
yeah.
gonna buy it. And I've even noticed that in my hairdressing, being a hairdresser, yeah, there were, because now I'm now becoming a coach, I started trying to chase away clients with money,
Right.
like so to sort of increase the price so that, like, not to chase them away, but because my time is more
Yes.
important now, which is still value-based pricing on a different level. It's not for a coach, but my time now is more important than it was, if that makes sense. Because
No, it does.
before I used to be a hairdresser. I had all the time. I was younger. Now I'm older. One, I'm older. My body can't stand as long as it used to. So we
Mm,
have to think about that.
yeah,
Two, I'm now doing other stuff that would bring money for me. So I have to check, is this hairdressing worth it for me?
yeah,
So for it to be worth it for me, I have to increase the price.
yes,
And in that way, and it still ties into this because one, the results clients would get from me, it's more because of I've been doing this for so many years,
yeah,
my expertise is so high. So thankfully they know they'll get the results. So the prices, they're happy to pay the prices. So even though I'm chasing them away, they're not going anywhere because they're like, we're here, we're not going anywhere, which is beautiful. But you know, people will always pay, to be honest. Like
yeah,
if I raise my prices 3 times up, now I understand that people will pay as well. But I'm
yes.
not saying people should just do that. I think we need to be realistic about our prices so that we are happy and
Hmm.
we get something good, and then clients are able to pay as well. So I think that expertise, it goes so wide. So
Mm,
it's very important to realize what you can provide so that you know what you can charge.
yeah,
Then
good
another
point.
one that went from that is, oh, sorry,
No, no,
Sharon,
I
did you
was
want to add
agreeing with
anything?
you. Yeah, no, that was really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. So another one that I wanted to talk about was and this is another example though, but this one was I was approached by this organization, which was what brought me to have this talk here. All this experiences with people that want to your expertise, but they're not ready to actually give you what you think you deserve.
Yeah,
And sometimes that can actually knock your
yeah.
confidence. Yeah, because it made me wonder, am I doing the right thing? I was second
Hmm.
guessing myself and looking through. So, and most of the time, that's not it. There's nothing wrong with looking through what you're doing and making sure you're giving the right thing. But there's some people that just won't bite when you throw your fishing net out. So the next thing I was saying was being approached by an organization that wanted me to train another. They weren't sure how many people it was going to be. I was going to travel to them, and it was going to be, how many people is it? It's going to be between 15 to 30 people.
Wow.
But I need to know so that I can plan mentally, because talking to 5 people is different from talking to 10 people,
Yeah.
and talking to 10 people is different from talking to 30 people. So they were like, no, just give us a price for the day. Yes, I can give you a price for the day, but when I have 30 people that I'm going to teach something that's practical, is different that I'm going to teach 5
Yeah.
people as well. So you have,
Mm.
you know, because what I think about is, when these people, when I leave or they go to wherever they're working and they're like, do you know about Afro hair? And they're like, yes. And they don't do what they're supposed to do. They'll be like, but
Yeah.
I thought you said you were trained. Yeah. Do you understand? Because
Yeah.
it's very easy for me to say, okay, it's so amount cheap, and then they go and they don't do it. That in the long run, that's gonna bring down my
Yeah.
brand, and I don't want that at all. I
Yeah.
want that I'm giving value, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm happy giving it. So when I've talked to them and they're like, giving them my price, I'm giving them my price and whatever, let's say investment, not price. Investment is a more nice word to use in
Yes.
this
Yes.
area, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, because this is the word, isn't it? That's the brand thing. Yeah. So giving them the investment they would have, and at the end of the day, they were like, oh, somebody else, we no, we don't have the budget for that, or we're not sure we can afford that. Somebody else did it for somebody's grandmother's uncles, blah blah blah, did it for somebody for so amount of money, and the amount of money was like a third of what I was, what I was
Yeah.
saying. You understand? And I looked at it, I said, okay, I'll go back. And the person was quite friendly. She was like, look, I think I've sent my people elsewhere to do this before, and they came back and they didn't really have the knowledge. And from talking to you, you seem like you have the knowledge. So they were confident in me. But
Right.
now there's a question of now the pricing. So I think this particular person was confident, but then when she's gone back to whoever makes the decision,
Mm.
because they don't understand how important this is and what it takes, they come back that they don't have it. So they didn't decline. They said they would come back in January. I don't know, or further
Mm.
down the line. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it was a case of, I know that you can do, and I know you do something really good, but can you just do something really quick? Like, I think you misunderstood us, just a quick slap dab, course.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
No.
I can't do
No,
it.
that's
It's
not
not
me.
possible. Exactly. I can't rush, like, okay, let's say I did it in 14 years out of, there was nobody to teach me. But if I was being taught, like hairdressing, you do an MVQ one,
Yeah.
2, 3, that's taking you 3 good years. So if you
Yeah.
were doing in my niche, that's what it would take you. So I can't do that in just one day.
Yeah.
You understand? And even if I was gonna do something smaller, it's still not one day. So I was
No.
like, you know what? I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. And I said no. I've said no a couple of times now, and it comes back to haunt me sometimes. But at the same time, as I go forward, I'm understanding that I'm happy with myself, and
Yeah.
other people still come, and I've also said yes to some people. So it shows that, because at the time I said no, this were my beginning times when I was, I really needed it and I really wanted
Yeah.
it. But when I looked at what they were offering, I said, no, 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 no,
No,
this is
it's
not,
good. Yeah.
gonna be
And it
it.
sets you
Yeah,
up for the next time. It gives you the confidence for the next time when the price that you have asked for starts
yeah,
appearing and you start,
yeah.
people start thinking about it at that level. It gives you the confidence to think, actually, yeah, this is, and people recognize that. I think that's important. But it's a journey, like you said, isn't it?
It's a journey, because when you start, you doubt yourself. You're like, hmm, will people pay? Which I think most people go through it. I don't think it's just me. You understand?
Oh
Or
yeah,
will
all
people
of
pay?
us.
Maybe I'm too expensive. Maybe I'm this. Maybe I'm that. And I see a lot of our people, and will I say, pricing themselves down. You
Yeah.
understand? And I just hope that we can stop this. And how this goes on is also that, because for example, they said somebody else came and gave them this amount of money,
Mm.
so that person didn't value what they were giving
Do
them
it. Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? So,
Yeah.
and then I could have looked at it like, okay, this person is giving this money, so now they're looking at it like, well, let's say my price is £200, and this other person gave them for £50.
Mm.
So now, this is what I'm talking about: coaches or people in the same niche not bringing each
Yeah.
other down,
Yeah.
because you've gone and done it for £50. I don't know the quality of what you're
What you're
giving them,
doing. Yeah.
but you're bringing the value of this whole thing that everybody is working hard for
Mm.
down. So it doesn't have to be hair at whatever niche that you are. You understand? I think it does happen, but knowing how to just stick to your guns and staying
Hmm.
where you are, I think is really good. And like information like this with other coaches is very important so that people can have an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it varies as well. With thank you, thank you. I think it varies as well between, like you gave a good example of, whether it's an individual person, and what their value is and their willingness to pay, and organisations as well, corporate organisations that
Yeah.
do have a budget, but then the people that are the decision makers don't value what they're asking for. And I think
Yeah.
as often, when they see it's a black person or a black woman, they have a certain figure in their mind of what that value is worth. And as soon as you challenge that, they're like, oh no, that's way too
Yes.
expensive. But that's not the
Yeah.
key. And that's, they need to change that. I was at a networking thing yesterday, having the exact
Okay.
same discussion around, people
Oh,
wanting black information from black people based on their experience and what they know and their learning. Yet they don't value that. They want it for free, or they want that for cheap, or they want to invite you to come and talk to all their people about stuff, but they're not valuing your lived experience. They want it for free, and before I would be like, oh, that's fine, yeah, I'll share that. It's good, I'm educating people. And now I'm like, I'm doing it for a corporation. It's not coming for
no.
free. It's not free information, because you could go and pay a
Mhm.
consultancy or someone else a same amount of money to get the same information that
Exactly.
I'm going to give you. So
Yeah.
value me, in that.
Exactly.
But it's really interesting. I think
Value me.
a lot of coaches have a very similar journey, in terms of,
Mm.
especially independent coaches like ourselves, around
Mhm.
values and coaching, and how much we charge, again, for our experience, for
Yeah.
what we've learned, how much time and effort we've spent putting into the business.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think it's an interesting one, and I'd be interesting to know. Shawnee's just said she's at work. Thank you for joining, Shawnee.
Oh, thank you so much, Shoni. And at least you're listening to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
something what I had to do, early on, and it did take me a while, um, was to write on my mirror. I've got big triple wardrobe with two mirrors,
Yeah.
and I had to put my price on there. And on my whiteboard in my office, I put
So
my
that
price on there. It's there every
so that
day.
yeah.
So when I'm pricing per hour, that's the rate. I can't argue with myself. I can't. That's what I put on there, and I have to make sure
Yeah.
that rate goes up every year, because otherwise, because like you said, you've got 14
Mm.
experience. Next year it's be
Mhm.
15 years. All that
Yeah.
learning that you've done in a year has a value,
And
and
do
a
you
cost.
know, yeah, and do you know how many mistakes I've made? Like, we've made over the years and we've learned from it. And
Yeah,
okay, like as you said, we've learned so much, but then learning from mistakes is just, for me, that's the school. Like that's the main
we
place where
learn
I've learned
forward.
it.
Yeah,
But then learning from mistakes, you lose something. You might have lost a client. You might have done so much in between. So it's not even just what you lost at that time. There could be other things that you could have lost along the line that just come together, and it's a
mm,
lot of investment of time that
yeah.
people are not just even checking at
Not
all.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
they're not
yeah.
valuing that. And I think it's a two-way thing. I mean, often when we're working and we're doing all the extra time, we don't. Well, for me personally, I'll talk in the I don't
Mm.
always tell people what I'm studying or what I'm learning, or if I'm doing a new coach or I'm doing a new course, I might not share that with everyone.
Yeah.
So then they're not sure, you're saying, oh, I'm pushing my price up extra, £150 this year or whatever. And then it's like, where did that come from? Where did that extra value? And like, so sometimes I think sharing that, or advertising it, or doing promotions when you're upskilling yourself to your community that you're working with, is essential, so they can share your journey as well. Because sometimes we do these things on our own, and we don't.
Yeah.
I don't share them. I don't share them.
Okay, please. If we This is another different story, because when I say I'm just I'm just like you, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And somebody told me about something. He said the humble brag, Mary.
Yes.
Learn the humble brag.
Mary.
Yeah. So and that thing stuck in my head. Do you
Mm,
understand? Like, because I do things and I'm like, it's just that, it's just
Yeah.
that. But then I see other people and you're wondering, and they're fine, they're good in their own thing, and they've done some things which you don't even know, but you're not saying anything, and it's not anybody's fault. So
No.
those people are using it to embellish, their coaching, like who they are and all that. But me, I'm more a private person. A lot of
Yeah.
us, because this is not what we will I say, we wanna help, but we didn't think it involves being out there,
Yeah.
which but unfortunately it does. But
It does.
along this journey, what I've found is, I know this is sound like that digressing from what we're talking about, but every day I think we're growing, we're learning about ourselves, we're learning about our business. But I think the more you do it, the more it becomes more natural. Like
Yeah.
I started trying to come out and do more for with myself from I think 2015. I've been learning how to work on Instagram. Does that not sound
Yeah.
crazy? But the everyday little thing. Now I'm a bit better. I'm at the point now where I'm ready to share. Because I'm
Yes.
not looking at it from a point of, because I used to think I'm trying to brag. No, because I want to help people.
Yeah.
And if this is the way I can help people, now if this is the actual way I can help people, because if they don't know you can do it, they can't come to you.
They can't come to you. Yeah. And
Yeah,
seek help and get a solution and get
exactly.
support.
Like
Yeah. No, it's
all
important.
the
It is
things that you
important.
do, please just put it out there. Seriously, like I don't know, just try starting somehow, one by one, put it on your stories, put it on your website. Like for me, I started, I'm getting accredited by like a CPD
Right.
accreditation. So I have
Brilliant.
somebody that works with me. Thank you. And I didn't know what it entailed till I went in there. And me,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I like to do things like I have ideas in my head and then I make mental notes of them and then I start putting them slowly. Sometimes I don't know how I'm gonna get there. So
Yeah.
we say
Yeah.
strategic planning, but sometimes we just go with the
Got
spirit
that
and
gut
just move.
instinct. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But the thing about it is, excuse me, by the time, oh, I think I need some water. Did I not bring
Yeah.
any water? Oh my God, I didn't bring no water, but it's fine. I'll
Yeah.
be all right.
Okay. You good?
Excuse me.
I can
Yeah,
talk if you need a
it's fine.
second.
Okay, no, okay, just give me a second. Let me just get my
You get
water
some
bottle
water.
here. I think it's
Okay.
full.
So while you're doing that, you brought up a couple of points around pricing that I thought were quite interesting. I think
Okay.
that the kind of willingness to pay of your
Mhm.
client or whoever you're working with versus your
Yeah.
personal values,
Mhm.
I think is really important. Learn experience, and I think it's one of those where there's few women that I know that can come into coaching and set up in the way that we have, all our various ways, and be able to sell themselves authentically from the start. I
Yeah.
think that is a part of a personal development growth, and I think we all
Yeah.
get there in the end. And I think we do sometimes stress about it early days, and it's something that we grow into as we grow into our own comfort. But
Yeah.
I think on the other end of that sometimes comes, and this is something I know JJ did. We did a webinar with JJ about a little while ago. Was that
Mhm.
imposter syndrome? It's like the more that I
Oh,
charge, the more that people expect, or am I expected to deliver? And what if I can't deliver? And blah, and then you start
then it
talking
keeps
yourself
going.
down,
Oh gosh.
and it's a
Yeah.
real thing, and it's real, and we all have to go through it, and it's a journey. And I think to any coaches out there that are at the moment, know that it is a journey, and it does pass. It doesn't last forever. You learn, but reach out and talk to other people like you're doing now, and
Yeah.
share, and know that actually we all feel it at some point, and we all have
Yeah.
it. And then we've got
I
like cost
know.
of living crisis, so now we're actually thinking,
We
what,
need
it's
to.
not just willingness to pay, it's
Yeah.
like
You have to. We have to survive.
we have to survive. But having said that, I've always been like that with my clients. Can they afford to pay? I've always worked with young people, which has been an issue. I've always worked with parents. I've always wanted to support parents, single parents with backgrounds. Sometimes it's not all the time, but sometimes the single parent money is of the object. So I'm always thinking around that, and
Mhm.
what people can, that affordability. And then a little while ago, just a couple of months ago, I decided that I wanted to change career in my day job. And I found myself a career coach, and she gave me her price, and I was like, okay, I
Okay.
don't have that right now. And
Mhm.
I've just got myself a little evening job to go and get some money to pay for it. So without even thinking about it, when people want the service and they want the support, you can find the money. And I don't have that money sitting in the bank, but I know if I did a plan, a little bit here and there, said I'll come
And
back
got
to
you.
you, hold my space for me. I'll just get some money together and off we go. So do you know what I mean? Even in
Yeah.
myself, I judge it in other people, and then I've just gone and done it myself. Oh yeah, I really want that service. I need that. She's going to give me a solution and move me forward. Perfect. I'm
Why
gonna use
not?
that. So it's interesting.
So do you think that that has to do with this price scheming thing? Because, like, for example, you are somebody that needed that, so you got into that place where you're ready for that price.
I think, and for me, I didn't go for the cheap. It was a combination of it being that particular person, because I like the personality. I work with that. Their experience. I know they've done the things that I want to do already. So that's the experience is worth it. And then I think there was something around, if I have to pay a lot of money for it, I'm going to make that happen. You know, for me, it was almost like a shortcut. It's like if I shell out this money now and make that investment, I'm going to work a lot harder to make that be achievable. And I never saw that in my own pricing before, if you know what I mean. So
so did you change your pricing now based on that? Like, how did that affect your pricing?
Yeah, I think moving forward, that is something that I would definitely think about now, because I've done it, and that's my self-development in a year. So now when I go and run my next program next year, I'll be coming at it from a different point of view, and my prices will reflect, you know, what I want to achieve and what I know that's worth. So again, I wouldn't have done that 2-3 years ago, but then in myself, I wouldn't have had that realization 2-3 years ago. So this is the evolution, you know. And I think sometimes I think, oh, you know, I've been doing this a long time now and I haven't got where I want and blah blah blah. But when I first started and I first saw a coach in action and thought, wow, this is what they do. I like that. I want to do that. And I said, you know what? I don't have enough life experience at the moment. And I didn't realize I was kind of shifting things a little bit. But I really felt like
that's part of imposter syndrome, though.
Yeah. I thought once I've been coached a little bit and had a coach, I'll make a better coach. And every time I've got myself a coach, that's improved my own coaching practice for my business. So it's one of those, you know, evolving things. We're going to do it. And we've got to pay for it.
Yeah. Okay, but like, for example, now for your, I'm just asking, like, for people that have like your business now, or your coaching practice, now you have people that might not be able to afford more, might not be able to afford if you raise it up, and you still want to help. And then there are some other people that are bigger corporations. So how do you now sort of get this balance? Like, for me, I'm thinking, okay, because I have those kind of situations as well. There are people that are ready. So there are people that are ready to be on the premium, the high ones. But there are some other people that still need the help. And maybe they're not even ready, because another thing I found out is sometimes you get a client, they're not ready for what you want to give them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And that is a problem for us, because that kind of client might come back and want a refund.
Yeah.
You understand? Because these are things you have to think about, because people come back wanting, which I just had the experience as well. Somebody wanted a refund, which I gave them back the refund. But now I'm thinking, okay, I need to find out who is ready for this.
That's the thing. And then again, it's another step forward, you know, it's another learning. It's like not everyone that comes to you is going to be ready for what you've got. And there's a bit of a test involved, you know, with that to find them out. Because I noticed the coaches that charge a lot of money and have the best results, because they only take people on that are going to have results. You know? They're filtering. They don't open it up to everyone. That's how they can say they're the best. And I think for me, taking that back to your question, what I've thought about is some of my packages that I would have offered before, I'm doing them more light touch. So whereas I might have face-to-face coaching, I might provide resources, I might do it in a slightly different way. Because then again, it's my time and my energy and me, you know. For corporations, I mean, an example I did, it wasn't for coaching, but a university approached me to run a Black students voice group, because a high number of their students on that course, 80% of the students on that course were Black and were struggling and were not attaining the same results as the 20% of white students of other students on their course. It was an issue. So they asked me to come in and have a look. I thought, oh, this is university, completely out of my comfort zone, but they've asked me to do it. It's a good job. I set it up. I know what to do. I spent a good couple of weeks researching the university. I went deep. I went into all their previous race reports, all their diversity reports. I got figures. I looked at their strategic plan for the next 3 years. I did all of that. I put together a proposal. Really nervous at the meeting with my price on there, which was the same thing you did. It was fair. It was based on this and this and this and this and this. And she said, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, this is great. Fantastic. I was like, oh, wow, this is great. Bring it on. 2 months into that contract, she was like, oh, I had to be set up as a supplier for the university. Proper took time and everything, got on the proper suppliers list and everything. Filled in all their paperwork. Second month I invoiced, she was like, oh, and she didn't action it. She didn't say anything to me. Third month I invoiced her. So it was a 6-month program. I'm like, hang on, the first invoice hasn't got paid. Let me find out what's going on. And this was a black woman that invited me, blah, 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 blah. Turned out she thought that the price that I quoted her was for the whole project and not per month. It wasn't timed. So when she looked at the original one, even though I'd set it out, couldn't have been any clearer. I thought, I'm going to put my heart on my string and put this all up front. What happened?
You must have put it down on paper.
Everything. I did it in 5, 6 different ways.
Did you have a contract?
I've got a contract. I went in deep. This is me. I'm running the business now. Yeah. Oh, she came back to me 3 months in. I'd only been paid for the first month. Oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't realise. I thought that X, Y. I was so disappointed. The 4th invoice, didn't get paid for weeks and weeks. I thought, so you know what? I'm going to charge you a late fee. I'm not even mucking about now. This is really upsetting. I'm frustrated, blah, 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 blah. The late fee went on. The late fee ended up bigger than the initial price of the first month contract because they left me waiting so long, no money, and in the end, she came back to me and said, I've had to go to my blah, blah, blah. And, I've had to get extra on my budget and I've gone over. And at first I was like, oh God, I feel terrible. And I thought, do you know what? No, I'm running a business.
It's not my fault. Yeah.
Running a business here. I gave you a contract. I gave you the prices. You accept it. I'm not taking no weeping now about it at the end of the day. And what I realised was that the fact it was a black group, they under budgeted for that group in the first place. So the problem went deep. It wasn't even about me. And she had to realise that your group in itself is being under-resourced because they're all black, even though there's 80% of them, they didn't give it enough money. That's not on me. You need to go back. And it was a good learning for myself. So I stood my ground.
Very, very good because now the question that comes up is, what do you perceive that I'm worth? Because in your mind, even though I've put this thing on paper, you are telling me that you're not looking at the paper, you've perceived that this is what I am. And it is annoying and very disorganizing, but it's not on you, it's on somebody else. But I don't like to, I mentioned it to somebody and somebody was like, oh, you're always pushing the black whatever. I'm like, the problem that I have, unfortunately, sometimes is one, the organizations don't plan well. They just under budget for us in general. I don't know why. But also another thing that we have is when we have people from our own side, our ethnic background, they are scared to talk about, to push this thing forward because they don't want to be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they don't want to be the one that goes and says, okay, this is for black people. So,
well, it was.
We want this money.
That was the
it's
joke.
The same thing for me. Like, it happened to me as well, where the lady was a black lady, bless her. I never saw her, but from us, but she said she had curly hair and she's looking forward to one of these things. So when I said her the thing, and the way she came back, you could see that from her email, she was like, this is too expensive already. This wasn't anybody telling her that it was expensive. She felt it was expensive.
She perceived already your worth.
Yeah, she perceived, Yeah. So, and then when we had the conversation, she was like, oh, can we not do this? Can we not do that? Okay, can we have 2 hours trial? It was supposed to be 8 hours in total. Can we have, I'm like, look, I've put this thing based on 8 hours. I can't give you even these prices based on 2 hours
Yeah.
because I brought the hours down. Now
Yeah.
you want to do a 2 hours starting. If you're doing our
Yeah.
2 hours starting, you're paying the basic price for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You understand? And then if the 2 hours work, then I can give you the discounted thing. But just
Yeah.
wanting it reduced. So I said, oh, let me find out. She goes back and then she comes back and she's like, oh, we can offer you this, but we can't offer, it was like a pit
Yeah.
going up and
Bitty.
down, up and
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys came to me for a reason.
Yeah.
You understand? There's a reason you came to me, and this is
And I,
what I said I'm doing. And I
yeah.
believe that you should have a budget for this because you have this social amount of people. Like I said, if it was just generally like
Mm,
what's not only black people, would
yeah.
you have a budget for it? Yeah, but now because it's afro hair or whatever, is it
Yeah.
not just hair? But the teacher that's teaching it, what is it gonna be? There was one I was gonna travel. I was gonna travel and because I know there's a few things on this slide, but we're having such a nice conversation anyway. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So I was gonna travel. It was gonna be in London. So I was gonna travel. Let's say 2 hours, or let's say 2 hours, 3 hours at least, because maybe if
Mm,
I come down in London, the time to get to that place. If I take a cab from here, So I now said, okay, you want me to come for 2 hours? That's fine, but I have to charge. I do a daily rate or a half day
mm,
rate.
yeah.
I can't do a 2 hour rate because it's not worth it for
It's not
me.
worth it.
It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
yeah, but she's like, oh, but it's just 2 hours and it's the same thing. You
Yeah.
understand? This was from a very, when you say big international company
This is
that
the
I've
thing.
always wanted to work with. And I'm thinking, I'm not trying to say because they're international, I have
Yeah.
to scam them. No, but I
No.
just think because of the level that you are, if you were talking to possibly lawyers in
Mm-hmm.
this big fish or credit brokers in one place, you wouldn't think about the price. But because I'm coming and talking about hair, you're thinking, can't
Yeah.
you just
Not.
come for 2 hours?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
2 hours worth? So I
Yeah.
said, look, I can't bring these are my prices for the day, these are my prices for half day.
Yeah.
Oh, then what are your hourly prices? I said, these are my hourly prices. Okay, let's do it. I'm like, no, you can't do my
Do
hourly
it.
prices
Yeah.
because it can't work because I'm traveling. And
Yeah.
once if I do a half day, I still can't do a full day. Ideally, I should charge you for a full day.
Yeah.
And then you could hear, and there were like four people in the meeting, and you could hear the lady in the background, like, but why does she have to charge? And I'm just like,
Mm.
why all this
And
stuff? This
so
is me.
yeah.
This is what I
And
want to charge.
and
Sorry.
and one of the things that I realised, and I will be proud because this is what held me in good stead, was it was all in my contract when I started. I made it really clear that I got myself a
Mm,
tight contract that had late payment fees in. It had my day rate, like you said, and my hourly rate, and my if it's more
yeah.
than 3 hours, it's a day rate, blah 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 blah, or minimum 4 hours. So when she went back to look at it, because she didn't read my contract, she just saw a black woman and thought I'm going to be cheap. Yeah, because I'm
And
doing
just
them a
go.
favor. Oh, she's just kind of coming. That's not how I set myself up. And when she had to go back to the accounts and say she's now made it a late fee, and they were like, da, 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 I said, look at my contract because you took me on as a contractor
Yeah.
based on my contract. And they had to
Yeah.
renege and they had to pay me an extra £900. And they were gutted because it came out of their budget. But I had to stand firm. Now, to be fair, I didn't get any more work with them because I was too expensive. But if I'd done that project and undercut myself and still not got any work out of it, I would have been no better off. And I really learned a valuable lesson. It did knock my confidence a little bit. I was disappointed
Mm,
in them as a group. But you know what?
mm.
I did good
You
value
learn.
work. Yeah, I worked
Yeah.
hard, I delivered, and I was well
Mm.
paid. And that's enough going
That's it.
forward. That's,
And that's why all this stuff is good because that makes you, your contract was the most important thing,
that
knowing
saved
what your
me.
time's worth and everything. So that's so beautiful. Like,
Yeah. Well,
kudos
we're
to you.
coming up
Yeah.
to the end now. It's we've got about
Okay.
2 minutes left, so I'm going to give you to wrap
Oh my
up and
God.
summarize.
So anyway, we've talked about everything on this slide, so I'm
Yeah,
not stressing myself. We talked about hourly rate, and then we
yeah,
talked about all this retention rate. So that's all. At the end of the day, though, the main thing is I obviously okay, yeah, we still didn't talk about that one, but the reasons if you don't actually have your nice pricing strategy, you have all these things. Obviously, you don't get paid what you deserve.
yeah,
You just don't feel good about yourself. People will not even value what you're doing. That's the biggest problem because people think if they price low, then they get everything. No, you don't get any value. And then you see all that money when they do all this their stuff, and they say, oh, Afro hair, for example, is taking so billion of the market share. You don't even have a little bit of that.
A little bit
So
snip of that.
yeah. So yeah. So that's it, really. That's our experience, at least my experience with pricing, and I hope that helps. And thank you so much for having
And I
me
think we
today.
could open this up and talk
Yeah,
about it more, because I think we all have a journey and a strategy. It's a big part of what we do, and being able to get our heads and our hearts in the right place to be able to charge what we are worth based on our experience and our training and our learning and everything else, I think will do us all really, really well. Really, really well. So thank you so much, Gege and Shawnee, for joining us. I hope you've been listening.
You're welcome.
This has been a member webinar on behalf of Association of Black Coaches.
Yeah, I feel so good. I feel so good for doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope we can get you on an Instagram live. We can get you on our website.
Yes, please. I would want to really do that. I want to have these conversations, please. Yeah. So I will be in touch and see how we can do it.
I will reach out to you and we can do that, because that's part of your membership benefits. So let's get you out there.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Shawnee. Thank you. And we'll catch up with you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. Amazing. Well done. Amazing. Amazing.